Hey everyone. So I'm back for a week with a little bit of a different format. So for those of you who didn't see my last video, I've started a new job and it is eating up basically all of my time. So if I haven't responded to your comments yet, I'm sorry. I haven't even been on YouTube. Brian's been handling all of my YouTube stuff just because I've been so swamped and exhausted. But I really do want to find some way to keep producing these videos for you. So we're going to try this new format and let me know what you think of it, where I'm going to have Brian along with me and we're going to read stories and talk about them. And the reason for this is the thing that was taking me the most time when I was making my videos was my little comments after them. Because if it's just me, I'll think about it for ages trying to find like the exact perfect words. But if I have someone like Brian here and we're having a conversation, then I don't get so hung up on having all the words be exactly perfect. So we're hoping that this will be a little bit faster and less time consuming for me. So we're going to try this for a couple weeks. Let me know what you think. And if it works well, then we'll keep going with it. And yeah.
Hi, I'm Brian.
Yes.
It's very dark on this side. I didn't actually realize, I guess if I go over closer to you, then it becomes a little lighter. The lighting is very temperamental.
It is. Our first story today is, am I the jerk for causing a family argument over a slutty dress? I'm a 19-year-old female. I've never really been into fashion and have always dressed sort of tomboyishly. I was telling a friend about how I've never really worn a dress past the age of 7, and how I was looking for something fancy to wear because I don't have any of those sort of clothes at all. Always end up borrowing someone else's when I have to. After looking a lot online, I finally found a dress I really liked. It's a basic satin slip dress with a mid-thigh slit. Not the kind of dress that would be unusual for someone my age to wear to a party. I've seen a lot of people wearing something similar. I asked my mom which color would look best on me, as I really didn't know, and she's someone that's quite into fashion. She took one look at it and called it slutty, and asked me why I wanted to look like a slut so badly. Later on, she told my dad about the slutty dress, and he sided with her. He said the description of the dress made him queasy, and that although he wouldn't have used the words my mom did, he didn't think it was wrong for her to use them. He also said it was not like me to wear such clothing, which isn't false, but then I'm also 19 and need clothes other than sweatpants and oversized t-shirts. I'm not proud of it, but I lost my anger at them, which is why I believe I also may be in the wrong here, and said it wasn't fair to make me feel ashamed for going out of my comfort zone and trying something new. I feel weird and awkward doing feminine things, makeup, dye my hair, paint my nails, because I've always been told that that's a bimbo slutty thing to do. I even agreed to stitch the slit up because it bothered my mom so much. She told me that she was merely stating her opinion, but it was an opinion that was meant to shame me for something I was going to wear. If it matters, I am living in their house, but I paid for the dress with my own money. Edit, I ordered it in burgundy. So I'm going to say that OP is not the jerk here.
What? How can you say that?
I think it's pretty clear. And I actually can relate to OP a little bit.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, not necessarily my mom is very puritanical too, but she also is kind of like anti-feminine things. So like growing up, I would feel weird about doing feminine things. And like I'd have little phases where I'd go through like doing my nails or something like that. But it was a rare thing. Like it was other family members who like bought me my first makeup and stuff like that. And so like I definitely can relate to OP's feeling of like not being, I can definitely relate to...
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely relate to her feelings of being like out of the loop of when it comes to like feminine type things and out and uncomfortable with like feminine things because like you relate to that pretty heavily.
Yeah, well, it's only been like I've been wearing makeup consistently, like every day for just over a year.
Yeah.
And I've, recently been leaning toward a more feminine dress style. I mean, I've never been quite a tomboy in my dress, but I was kind of like jeans and t-shirts for most of my life up to this point. And even if it wasn't necessarily what I liked, it was kind of like what I thought I should wear, so I wouldn't be like, too girly
too
or
feminine or girly,
whatever.
because your mom really, she did like rag on anyone who wore feminine type clothing and stuff like that, and it kind of left an impression on you in a lot of ways. And then like tell them about when you were little and your mom made you dress in Little House on the Prairie stuff.
Oh my goodness, yeah. So my mom always kind of had this weird idea that she wants to be Amish, and as part of that, she would buy me and my sister these dresses that looked like something out of Little House on the Prairie, like these like, I don't know, like they had like the pinafore aprons and everything, and like we just looked like extras from the TV show. It was pretty bad. So yeah, that was my childhood. But yeah, pretty much what I want to say here is like, OP, it's 100% your right to wear things, and it's not bad to wear things that are feminine, that are revealing, anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wear what's comfortable for you and try new things.
Yeah.
It may feel awkward at first. Like, I know the first time, like, wearing makeup was a weird experience, and especially because you're kind of bad when you first start it. But, it came to be something that I really enjoyed. And so, yeah, I just really relate to OP here, and I'm hoping that she can get a lot of comfort and confidence wearing the things that she likes, and not feel like she has to limit herself to sweatpants because that's what her parents think she should wear. Do you have anything else to say?
I don't know. I think you, with your experience and everything like that, really summarized things pretty well. I mean, again, like all I could do is at this point in time is like reiterate the points that you've made here. So I don't really feel like I have any, additional things to add.
All right.
I guess I'm reading too. So hopefully you guys don't mind too much. Our next letter is titled, "Am I a jerk for losing it with my friend after she tricked me into eating meat?" So I have this friend who was really affronted when I went vegan 5 years ago. I'm not sure why. I never made a big deal of it. Generally, the worst things I've had to put up with her are the occasional microaggressions. I'm generally pretty chill about it, and I tend to ignore her comments or change the subject. Recently, however, she seems to have upped her game. I don't know if she's bored in lockdown and she's entertaining herself by bothering me, or what it is, but she's become very intense about converting me back into eating meat, which I have no interest in doing. She's obsessed with sending me these videos of that vegan teacher. For those who don't know, that vegan teacher is some crazy vegan woman who has some very questionable content that verges on racism and homophobia at times, and I'm nothing like that, needless to say. Anyways, after months of receiving daily TVT videos, updates on how I'm going to die from malnutrition, and being told that I'm part of a cult, my friend tells me of this amazing vegan mince that she tried. I was surprised, but I guess I was grateful to have some reprieve from the usual, so I didn't question it. By the way, I have suffered with health anxiety for a decade, and being bombarded with the exaggerated health outcomes regarding my diet in the middle of a deadly pandemic hasn't helped, to say the least. No kidding.
Yeah.
She's adamant that she's making me a vegan shepherd's pie with this mince because I just have to try it, etc. So I agree to her dropping it off on my porch. I was actually quite touched at her thoughtfulness. Long story short, as it was cooling, I noticed how meaty it smelled, but I've had more realistic meat substitutes lately, so I naively thought nothing of it. When I took my first bite, I knew beyond anything that this was real meat. It really revolted me, and I actually felt really betrayed and upset. I called my friend and asked her why she did it, and she said it was for my own good and that she was saving me from a cult. I lost it, and I told her that if anyone is acting like they're in a cult, it's her. That she's obsessed with making me eat meat, and quite frankly, it's getting weird. She cried and hung up. She's made several Facebook posts calling me an extremist member of a cult and that she's cutting me off from my friends. I haven't responded, but all of her friends have commented on her status saying, "What a jerk I must be." I'm pretty exhausted by this, to be honest. I don't feel like I'm asking for any of this, and I just feel harassed. I just want to be left alone and eat my veggie burgers in peace. My friend seems particularly upset, though, and I don't like upsetting people. So am I the jerk?
No.
Well, I mean, she's part of a cult, though, right? I mean, clearly, if she's eating nothing but vegetables, she must be in a cult.
Yes, clearly that is the definitive sign of being in a cult.
Yeah. Well, okay. I mean, I think in this particular case, like, she is trying to eat a healthy diet. And, like, you can do a vegan diet and be healthy.
Yeah.
It's much harder, and there are a lot of people who eat vegan but aren't necessarily doing it in a balanced way, and that's where you can really run into issues. But if she's trying her best to keep her diet balanced and trying to keep, all the, nutrition in her diet that she can, then I think that she probably should be fine.
Right. Well, and it's really not OP's business. Like, I understand if you are afraid of your friend being malnourished, but
yeah,
like, lots of people have vegan diets and are perfectly healthy. And she's an adult. She's capable of making her own dietary choices and decisions. And it seems strange to me that OP's friend, I'm going to use friend in quotes because this doesn't sound like a very good friend after what she did, is just so intent on having her eat meat. Again, like, I've been a vegetarian for, I don't even know, almost 2 decades now. And I have no desire to eat meat. And so if someone was like trying to push this nonsense on me, then I would be upset. And I would hope I'd be a little more skeptical of them. But I mean,
you would just feed the shepherd's pie to me, and
yeah,
I'd be like,
have you be the taste tester.
I'd be like, oh yeah, this is definitely meat.
So, I mean, I think it's fully reasonable for OP to be upset in this situation.
Oh,
because
yeah. Just like the betrayal here.
Yeah, it's a huge betrayal of trust. She entrusted her friend to feed her food she could eat, and the friend is like, here's some food you can't eat.
Well, she didn't even question it because,
Right.
why would you think that your friend would be actively trying to deceive you?
Yeah.
And, your friend has no right to be upset. And, while, she can be concerned, like what you're saying, forcing someone into a diet that they don't want, I think, is completely unreasonable.
Yeah, well, and if you've been vegan for 5 years, it's probably long enough that, like, if you just went back onto meat all of a sudden, it's not going to be a fun time.
No, probably not.
So, it's not good for OP to have, like, meat foisted upon her without her knowledge like that. Like, that's just not cool.
No.
Our last story for today is, am I the jerk for telling my wife that I don't have to speak to our daughter until I feel comfortable? Found out a couple of days ago that our daughter, who's a 17-year-old female, is pregnant. I was so angry that I just went numb and walked away. I've never been so disappointed in my life. We used to be super close, but I don't even want to talk to her anymore. Today, my daughter came over to me while I was watching TV and asked if we were still watching the Super Bowl together. I was going to ignore her, but I told her, this is the last time I'm speaking to you because obviously everything I've been telling you over the years just goes in one ear and out the other. I've never been so disappointed in my life. I told you about safe adult activities, condoms, birth control. On top of that, you betrayed my trust. You used to tell me everything. I argued with your mother all those times about letting you go to your boyfriend's house because I thought you were responsible and that you would come to me if anything happened. But I was wrong. So from now on, don't talk to me ever again. Anything you want to talk to me about, go tell your mother and have her pass it on to me. Because this dude sounds like an adult father and not a child.
Yeah.
Later, my wife comes into my den and asks what happened. I told her to ask her daughter. She said she did, but she couldn't understand her because she was crying so much. I told her what I had said, and she got upset and said that I have to talk to her. I told her, no, I already did, and I'm not talking to her again until I feel comfortable, and I don't know when that might be. Maybe never. Edit. Our daughter told us she was pregnant not last Friday, but the Friday before that. Like I said, I haven't been speaking to my daughter since then, but my wife used to tell me what was going on until I told her to stop. What I've been told? The boyfriend wants to be part of my daughter's life and raise the baby. His family is supportive. My daughter and her boyfriend were practicing safe adult activities and using condoms, but he ran out one day and they decided to use the pull-out method. And that's when I told my wife I didn't want to hear anymore. All right, I'm going to say this dad is 1,000,000% the jerk here. Like,
accidents happen.
Accidents happen.
And, you know...
But even if this is clearly an accident, but even if it hadn't been, even if they, I mean, they're 17 years old.
Yeah,
like
they're 17 years old and they make poor judgments.
The brain is not developed enough to have, like, steadfast reasoning ability. But, you know, like, no matter the circumstances under which this happened, like, she is your child.
Yeah.
And you are punishing her for...
Well, she could have just never told him anything. Like, she could have just been, you know, like what he's pretending happened. Like, he would have been happier if she just had lied to him and never told him anything about anything. And, you know, I think that's really unfortunate because, like, she needs their support more now than ever.
Yeah, exactly. Well, exactly. Like, he's like, you should have come to me if you had issues. Like, she literally tried to come to you when she had an issue. Like, but, you know, like, they were in the heat of the moment and they didn't have condoms and they made a choice. And I mean, again, the pull-out method, if used correctly, can be fairly effective, but, you know, things happen and go wrong. And like, you can't hold that against her. Like, I mean, you can't know Pia's, but like, that's just such a bad way to treat your child who is in a very difficult situation.
Yeah. And I mean, again, like what you were saying, I think the important bit is that she did come to them for help. And this is what he was talking about from the very beginning. Oh, you never came to me for help, but she did.
Yeah.
And now she's being punished for seeking help.
Yeah.
So it just seems like he is really being hard-headed about this.
And he's shaming her for something, like, that is such a strange thing. Like,
well, and also, yeah, I mean, he talked to her about all these different birth control methods. So he knew that they were, you know, engaging in, you know, adult activities here. So it's not like this was like a secret to him. Or
it was like one of those, like, secret, not secrets, like,
yeah.
Don't ask, don't tell type of situations, which, those don't always go well, as we can see in this situation. Like, this one just breaks my heart so much, just because, like, she's going to be going through a really rough, life-altering set of circumstances, and he somehow managed to make this all about me. This is the biggest disappointment of my entire life.
My life, my problems, and, you know, and think about how she's feeling.
Yeah, like, hearing your dad say, I've never been so disappointed in my life, when I mean, I'm sure that this isn't necessarily the outcome that she was hoping for.
Yeah.
She probably feels really bad in a lot of ways. And so having that, like, thrown in your face and your dad basically being like, I don't want to have anything to do with you ever again. Like, that's just such a jerk.
You're damaged goods, kiddo. I don't want anything to do with damaged goods.
Like, I just don't know what is wrong with this man.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think he has a lot of growing up to do.
I really hope that part of the reason why I do these videos is I kind of hope that, and sometimes you see it when you read the edits, like Reddit gives people a wake-up call, and it's people like this who
need the wake-up.
They need that wake-up call, and I really hope that he can see the comments, you know, maybe see people doing videos on this post and realize just how hurtful he's been and how much he's hurting his daughter with this, that the universe isn't all about him.
Yeah.
It's understandable that this isn't the outcome he wanted for his daughter, and he's allowed to have feelings about that.
Exactly.
But then to project it all back on her and tell her how she's so much of a disappointment and not want to help her when she's going through this very difficult and trying period is just, I really hope you can see how wrong he is.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you've enjoyed these stories, and I hope this new format is working for you. Again, let me know in the comments if it is or isn't. I think Brian's going to be handling most of my YouTube just because my brain is...
Yeah, so probably I'll be answering comments and whatnot as Amber's account here, so hopefully that doesn't bother you. Or maybe I'll be answering them on my account, just so that you can get some kind of idea that, you know, Amber's receiving the communications and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, it's understandable. Like sometimes it's easy to get fatigued when it comes to like responding to comments and stuff like that, especially when you have a lot of things to do. So I think that's kind of where Amber's coming from right now.
Yeah, I just have so many emails I have to be responding to and stuff like that. So comments are like another thing that I have to respond to. So I will be hearing your feedback through Brian, but I just won't be necessarily responding myself because my brain is just everywhere right now. But I hope you enjoyed this video anyway, and have a great day.
Yeah. Take care.